Lucy, off. Sit. It's just a noise that she associates with something unpleasant. When I first introduced her to Mr. No-No, she had her pinch collar on and her leash, and when I put him on the ground, it's just a, well, this one's really flat and kind of quiet. It's a plastic bottle with 10 to 15, 20 pennies in it, and then we put it inside of a tube sock. So what it does is we create a milder version to the penny can by not looking at her and talking to her when I use it in the beginning. The dog starts to associate that sound with whatever they're doing is probably not a good idea. It's kind of a Fred Flintstone version of the e-collar that you would use with them. E-collars have tone, vibration, and the final one is the shock. And when I use e-collars with the dogs, I always stay within the tone or the vibration as much as I can. I've had maybe a couple of 3 dogs in the kennel that actually in their 2-week program of e-collar training actually got shocked. So if you start out with the shock first, you have no place to go from there. So you want to use the least amount of correction to get the desired result. So if I can get this dog to respond to this sound, and then I attach a signal onto it, which is called off. Off means don't make contact with what you're jumping around at. It's a person, so I need to have a verbal signal when it comes to using noise aversion with live things like other animals and or people. So when I sit down in a chair, if Lucy makes contact with me without looking at her or talking to her, or with a verbal signal off, that means don't make contact with me. And then I teach her to sit for attention and don't give her praise and petting until she's doing that. So we'll do a little demo. I'm not sure she'll jump on me because we've been working on this quite a lot, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what we've been working on with her. Come on, Lucy. Off. Good girl. Sit. Off. Good girl. Sit. Off. Yes. I can't change your dog's temperament because that's who she is, and she's a very friendly Airedale, but I can teach her that the only way she's going to get attention from me, sit, stay, is if she's following the rules. And the rules are that you don't make contact with people unless they invite you to do so. And that's 100% of the time. This dog does not need constant tactile stimulation like a golden retriever, which is kind of a different ball game. This is more of an independent breed, but we can take that personality or temperament or whatever you want to call it and create an OCD kind of situation where they look at you and all they think of is the attention they can get from you. So the very least we can do is have our dogs earn the attention. That gives them a job for which this breed was originally had a job. Lucy, come here, baby. Good girl. Yes, a good girl. And if we focus on what the off, sit. Very nice. Off, yes. So good. Okay. Okay is a release word that means I'm not talking to you anymore and you need to go away and leave me alone. If I say off and go away and she still keeps bugging me, then I use the penny can without noise, without eye contact or spoken word. Reason for that is I don't want this game of me saying off, she gets off and then comes back to me again like a yo-yo or a ping pong game. So once I give her the release of, okay, I've given you a pat, I've told you how wonderful you are, now go away and leave me alone. I take my eye contact and away from her, and I don't talk to her. I let Mr. No-No just correct her without eye contact or spoken word. So in that situation, You've moved from giving her a verbal signal off. You've told her what your desire is, and now she's still a little bit pushy, so I'm just going to use Mr. No-No to discourage that. I hope that makes sense, and we'll talk a little bit more about behavioral issues in our consultation. Lucy, sit. Stay. Stay. This is the leash that I'm using for Lucy. It's just a little nylon slip collar. There's no prongs or anything on it. And because she's had a bit of training already, nope, come on over here. Sit. Stay. Because she's had a bit of training before with the prong collar, I wanted to show you that it's not so much the equipment we're using as having an exercise called follow, which means walk on my left hand side, we slacken the leash, change directions when I do, sit when I stop, and don't pull out ahead of me. If she pulls out ahead, I step back, follow, give her a little correction, sit, so that she learns when I say follow. Yes, good. That's what I mean. If I have to correct her, I step back, give a sharp correction, and then step forward again. Follow. Lucy. Good morning, sweetheart. Okay. Follow. Yes, good girl. Look how good you are. So after a while, you really hardly even need to use the leash, unless you need to correct her. Follow. Make sure she stays on your left, so there's no misunderstanding about where you want her to be. Sometimes people in the family one will walk her on the right hand side, one will walk her on the left, and one will walk her wherever she feels like. So the consistency of this exercise means that you keep walking and teaching her that she's to stay generally on your left hand side, slacken the leash, and to make adjustments according to what you're doing. Follow. Good girl, loose. Lucy, down. Lie down. Come on. Down. Stay. Stay. Lucy, come. Yes. Okay, good job, Lucy.